Hi everyone, I hope you guys are doing well. Um, this camera situation is quite weird. I wanted to do this on my phone, but it's not working. So my screen is over there. So please forgive me for looking over there. I just want to make sure that I'm always in focus. So I was supposed to do a self-care Sunday this past Sunday. Today is Tuesday, and it just goes without saying that it was a complete disaster to try and do it on Sunday. So we are here. It's Tuesday. Today is my official day off. I think I'm actually considering making it my day off forever. So that's what we're gonna do. And I'm thinking of moving Self Care Sundays to Self Care Tuesdays, even though I felt like Sundays would be the perfect place because it's kind of like the day before starting Monday. But we'll figure it out as we go. The most important thing is that we're doing it. And that's actually what I wanted to talk to you guys about for my first Self Care Sunday. I feel like the main reason why I have a coaching program, why I teach growth and wellness and self development and self love, self care, and all these amazing things is because there was a time in my life when I needed this. And I really would have killed to just know that there's someone who is coaching people on this. Obviously, now I'm aware of so many people who are doing it, but I didn't know at the time. And I feel like in my circle of friends, I'm the only person that I know that who's doing this. So it kind of is a very big challenge on its own because it's kind of like a two-part process. One, trying to make sure that people know that they need to take care of themselves, and the second part is having them actually do it. And it's funny, you would think that it's kind of like a no-brainer that everyone needs self-care, but to take the actual step to make these things happen is actually the hardest part, which is where I was. Because if someone asked me, do I want to take care of myself or do I want to practice self-care, I would have said yes. But had you mentioned that I would have to do meditation, journaling, waking up early, sleeping early, practicing discipline with my phone, for example, and stuff like that, I would have just been like, nah, this ain't for me. Because at the time I was just so busy trying to let things not fall apart, not knowing or understanding that they had already fallen apart. But I guess I'm the only one who's just not aware, I suppose. So it's a tricky balance. So I think with all of these self-care Sundays that I actually have planned is to also give you a glimpse into my program so that you understand what exactly it is that I do and actually what kind of help do you qualify in getting. Because I feel like South Africa is at this weird point. Not that I only cater for South Africans, I'm just what I see. We're at this critical point where parents, especially young parents, are starting to talk about therapy, but there are still people who are just not jumping at the chance of being taught, um, you know, what therapists do in terms of going back into the past and actually understanding what happened there and how that is affecting you now. Where as coaches, we are like, we sometimes don't even go into the past that deeply. We're just like, okay, where we are now, how do we move forward? Because my main point is we don't grow if we can't see where we lack. That's actually what my biggest problem was. I didn't, I badly wanted to grow, but I couldn't see that the person I had become was holding me back from all the great things that I could achieve if I wanted to. You know what I mean? Tiny example. So when I was working in corporate, no offense to corporate people, but when I was working in corporate, I kind of knew on the first day that that was not made for me. But I persevered because I didn't want to go into my future wondering if maybe I had a different attitude, I would have done better. But let me tell you, was each day was a nightmare. Like it just kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And maybe I can blame the company that I worked for a little bit because they were horrible. Not everybody. I just mean that portion of the company, including my boss. They were horrible. And my manager, to be honest. Even though he was a little bit helpful, but he made things really difficult for me at the end when I was trying to do my exit. Anyway, doesn't matter. So while I was still being that person trying to survive in that space, I knew that I was creative. I am creative, and I had a blog at the time. But because I was always just so preoccupied with how horrible my corporate life was going, I never saw any opportunities in the creative space. I never thought that you could make a living, doing creative stuff. And all along, while I'm trying to figure that out, like people who actually jumped the gun during those times are actually super stable now, and they have these multiple streams of income doing creative stuff that they love doing. Another thing is that life coaching, only heard about it like I would say maybe early last year, but because I didn't know much about it, it's not something that I looked into. But it does connect me to what I want to do, and that is have one-on-ones with people, help them. My therapist always says that I have difficulty with my relationships at the moment because of the fact that, and by relationships I don't mean men, but with my relationships because I'm always in fixer mode. You know what I mean? And the more I look at where my relationships might have gone wrong is because I always try to fix things. And you could easily look at that as a criticism, which is what I did initially. Or you could look at it as something that you love doing. Do you understand what I mean? Like I don't like sitting in a problem. I've noticed the problem. The problem is making me miserable for X amount of months or years, and just sitting there, like it just bothers me like a lot. So I could be ashamed about the fact that I'm such a fixer, or I'm very like I need things to be done a certain way, which is something that I thought I despised about my mother. What is that word? She likes to give you advice you didn't ask for. Can't remember that word right now. Unsolicited advice. Yes, but it turns out I'm the exact same way. So the very element I literally don't like in her is the one that I have, and that was a weird 180 I didn't expect. Actually, 360 in this case. Okay, so the point is that wait, what was my point? My point was that that's what my therapist told me, and I'm just like, oh, okay, cool. That means that now when I talk to my friends, I'm supposed to be empathetic only and not try to be a fixer, which is something that I've been subconsciously doing. But now that element of trying to be a fixer, FYI, who does not love what Olivia Pope does, of trying to be a fixer, now I'm channeling that into my coaching because I feel like if you're coming to me to be coached by me, you're not coming to me to for me to be your therapist. You're coming to me because you need an action plan. I'm your action plan girl. So literally what my coaching is about is taking you from where you are, where you feel like, you know what, you need help because you just kind of like stuck or kind of in your head, you're not taking action, and this particular thing or particular problem is causing you not to grow. And I put plans in place that add your action, it does grow. Currently, I do include a little bit of accountability, but to be honest, if you choose me to be a coach, I don't want you to be dependent on me. I want to help you be your best self. That's what I'm about. Like, and that's the other thing. Um, um, when I figured out that, I mean, making money and like wearing power suits and all these things used to be to appeal to me back then. However, now I feel like I just want I just want to live. I don't know if you guys know the influencer Near the Light. Like you know, like they where all her plants are, like in her apartment where the sun comes in the morning. Ugh, I would die for a space like that. So that's where I want to be. I don't want to go into the office all the time because I'm forced to go. I don't want to be stuck in meetings that I can't get out of that mean nothing to me. I want to change the world and I want to make that change into people who want that change. I don't want to force that change in anybody's lives. Do you understand what I mean? So the thing that we're talking about is taking action. So when I realized these things, I was like, okay, where do I need to go? Looked up all the coaches online that I could find, and I found some really spectacular people. And I actually worked with a results coach one time. So she coached me in exchange for a testimonial, which is also something that I did at the beginning. This lady was amazing. I mean, I think she was from Spain or somewhere, so we connected via Zoom, and I was actually 20 minutes late for the appointment. It was horrible. But she waited, and that means the world to me. And then we spoke a little bit about where do I feel like, basically I was telling her that I'm struggling to get clients because I just started my coaching business and all these other things, and I was telling her I'm struggling to find clients. So she's asking me, where have you looked, blah 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 blah. And she actually was the one who suggested to me that I try LinkedIn. And I had a dead account on LinkedIn. Like, I never used LinkedIn for anything because I didn't want accounting jobs at the time, but I set it up because that's what everybody was doing. And then at first, I was there just looking around, poking around, looking at other people's profiles, whatever, got inspired. And it's funny how I'm actually realizing now as I'm talking that me cleaning up my LinkedIn, um, wow, this is amazing. I'm currently working with a client and I'm charging her for LinkedIn services right now in April. And I actually worked on her LinkedIn for 3 days now. And I'm in my mind, I'm calculating that had that lady, the results coach, never spoken to me about LinkedIn, I was never going to take interest in it and I was never going to bother learning about it because it just wasn't a platform that intrigued me. And now in my social media business, I actually do offer LinkedIn services because I actually did all the homework necessary to know how LinkedIn works, how the algorithm works there, and how you can optimize it for your business. Oh wow. Oh my goodness. Sorry, I'm just having a moment. The point is, if you want to see change in your life, you need to decide if that is something that you deserve. I've been saying this a lot lately, but really that is what makes a person take action, make the first move. It's actually pain and actually deciding, it's pain and worth. So either you need to decide if you're worth it, meaning you're worth the end result. Like, for example, if you've always been scared of starting a YouTube channel, you kind of need to ask yourself, is this something that, like, not you're worth doing? Is it something that you deserve? And the truth is, everybody deserves to have a YouTube channel because there are people out there who are talking about nonsense, but their YouTube channels are thriving. It's because they are faking it until they make it, or they think that whatever they have to talk about is interesting. So that's they load videos based on that reason alone, right? And then you are with an amazing idea and you're not doing anything because you're thinking, who's going to watch me? That's not a valid reason. What is a valid reason is taking the step towards the path that you want to go, meaning it's uploading that first YouTube channel, oh, uploading that first YouTube video. Then the other one is pain. Pain is a good motivator. Like, I never knew this, but my life before this was causing me a great deal of pain and it was causing me a great deal of depression. So there was a time when I was actually thinking that this is the bottom, and then something would happen, and then I'll think, no, this is the official bottom. And then something else will happen. I'm like, okay, this is the final bottom because I can't believe this is happening to me. You know what I mean? And that caused me a great deal of pain. And that is what eventually caused me to move because I was just like, this is too painful to bear. I'm alive. I have great ideas. I have passion for the things that I like doing, and that caused me to move, because everyone's pain threshold is the one that will actually make them stand up. For example, if a person is overweight, and I'm sorry to use this, but it's very efficient. If a person is overweight and they suddenly have to pick up their child, and they can't because maybe all the excess fat is preventing them from doing that, and that causes them a great deal of disappointment and pain. That's a pain threshold, right? If a person doesn't do anything after feeling that level of disappointment of not holding their child, that means that they haven't reached their threshold. So It's also like love. Like if your partner hurts you and you think in that moment that this is something that I can forgive, you haven't reached your threshold. But if he does something or she does something much worse than that, then that causes you to be like no more, or no, I don't, this shouldn't be happening. Then you've reached your pain threshold, and that's when you will proceed to either break up with that person or do something worse. I don't know. The point is, those are the two things that actually get people to move. Then the second thing is deciding how you're gonna do this. Going into something without a plan is just setting yourself up for failure, in my opinion. So this is where you seek out help. Like, this is where you get advice from people who have done it before. If you don't have access to those people, the internet is so easy to use. That's what you need to do. Then after that, you put the plan in action. Again, don't put a plan in action that is ill-informed. At least know how to do the first 3 steps. You don't need to know the first 10 steps, just the first 3. And I learned this from Vanessa Lau actually, because she says that if you want to be a fitness mogul one day, like for example, Jillian Michaels, I think that's her name, you can't just wake up and start looking for brand deals and like television, like TV gigs and all these other things. You first need to start by maybe starting a challenge on Instagram, where you have, let's say, 200 followers, and maybe every Monday you do push-ups with them at 6 o'clock in the morning. That's your thing currently. So that's your 1 to 2 or 1 to 3. Um, and then after that, maybe you can start having like a private membership, or you can be a personal trainer for 6 months, or anything like that. So start with the things that are within your control. And that has been guiding me ever since, because I'm thinking, at first I used to think, oh, look at people who are far ahead and think, oh my gosh, I don't have this, I don't have this. These people have teams, okay? I don't have a team. So it just didn't make sense to me. So that's how you kind of need to look at it in terms of what do I have now? And once you've mastered that, then you can look at what are steps 4 to 6. Obviously, while you're still looking at 1 to 3, you have 4 to 6 in your mind, but you're just executing 1 to 3 right now. And then after that, you take it one level up. You just clean up your space. You become more efficient. You have a system so that you can spend less time thinking about what you're doing and just doing. And that's basically it. So nothing is super hard if you don't break it down into tiny pieces that you can work with. So that's basically how you get started. And I feel like even like now with the Selfcare Sundays that I wanted to do, it was just an idea in my mind, and I'm just thinking, like, will this speak to anyone? I mean, you must also remember I have a YouTube channel that does not have a big that does not have a big subscription base. So it can easily make you feel like people just don't want to hear what you have to say. But I've just gotten to a point where I don't look at that anymore. I look at, did I do it? Not who's watching this. So sometimes you just have to focus on that. And I think that if you are following people, my other friend said that sometimes you follow people who are way advanced than you for inspiration, which is great. But I actually think that if you follow people who make you feel like you can't start, then they are no longer motivation. They are distracting you. So find people who are on the same level as you, who also have the desire to start but have limited resources, so that you can kind of get ideas from them about where to start. Yeah. But also hire a coach that will help you get things started. I mean, guys, um, coaches might look like people who are just throwing the term around, but I am so excited for this session that I'm actually attending on the 25th with this. She's a truth alchemy, something like that, coach. And at first I was like, what is that? you know and then I listened to one of her sessions, one, guys, like one session. I haven't even started looking at her other free stuff, but free stuff for now. Later on, I am hiring her. Like, and it's called multi-dimensional you or something like that. Basically, it teaches you how to be authentic in yourself. That's something that I need because it's a struggle for me to remain myself all the time. So I constantly need training on it. And her one coaching session on Vanessa's program is actually the one that got me moving. And she said this thing where she says, "Don't if something is not in your control, it's not in your control. But what is in your control is showing up in your best energy and stepping up into the next level version of yourself." That's what I've been doing ever since. And I said that too. I heard that a couple of days before I asked my friend about her other friend who might need marketing services. I contacted her, and within a week she set up a meeting, and within another week of that we started working together. So this girl is basically how I landed my first client that I'm currently working with. I mean, she's amazing, you know. So sometimes you need help. Like, it's not a crime. It doesn't have to be a big deal. But I feel like sometimes you just need to allow new air, new energy, new newness into your space so that you can be better, so that you can be the next level version of yourself. So yeah, I think I'm gonna stop here because I'm blabbing. I will definitely try to do this live next time, but if not, then this is how we're gonna do it. If you want to know more about my coaching system or my program, you can definitely let me know in the DMs. Otherwise, you can totally email me. Everything is attached to my bio. Currently, I actually have 5 worksheets in my that I actually sent out as a newsletter, but it's also available in the links. Um, and included is the Face Your Fears journal prompts. Oh, love that! It helps me kind of work through the fears that I might be having at the time. There's a new habit installer, one of my favorite things, like how to install a new habit. Oh, I love that worksheet. Then I also have the April calendar in there for you guys. I just feel like dreams only happen if you plan them. And then I also have the term 2 calendar in there. That's also one of my favorites. So I really hope that you guys use them because they are actually there to help you. So going forward, from May to December, there will only be one freebie in my newsletter. So you better grab them all now while there's still time. Okay, gotta go. I will see you guys next week. Bye.